The Soul Chaperone, written by Jason M. Burns. Narrated by Jason M. Burns. Season 1, A Tough Nut to Crack. Episode 3, A Can of Worms. The main drag through downtown Juniper is about a mile from the ski slopes and is lined with all of the tourist trap staples you'd expect to find in a sleepy little mountain town. We've got the overpriced antique shops filled with the kind of crap that no one would drop a dime on if they showed up in an online auction. There's also the old-timey ice cream parlors peddling root beer floats and maple-themed ice cream with names like Kangamangus Munch. It's a half-mile of slow-going roadway, traffic lights as far as the eye can see, and we locals do our best to avoid it at all costs. It also happens to be the only exchange location I have access to in all of the White Mountain District. So here I am, finally scoring a parking spot after circling around the block for the last 15 minutes. Tucked between a head shop and a name-you'd-know sandwich chain, Madam Bahkita's storefront needles the eye with a barrage of neon that advertises everything from tarot readings to certified chair massages. It's the kind of place that lures in your great-aunt Carol with promises of getting a leg up on her bingo night nemesis. And even though I have lived in Juniper my entire life, I never noticed that it was here until I went looking for it. I guess that's why they use it as an exchange location. You can't suspect something that you don't pay attention to in the first place. As I push the door open, the bell overhead signals my arrival. The cramped shop is decorated with cheap Persian rug rip-offs which hang from the exposed rafters like tapestries that hug the walls. Incense burns in a central location, but the neighbors' wafting dual scents are too overpowering for the New Age perfume. Positioned at the back of the main room at a table draped in a purple velvet runner, Madam Bahkita sits with a female customer who is asking questions about her future crocheting skills. Madam Bahkita fixes her emerald green eyes on me. I nod politely, which only causes her ageless face to scrunch up in annoyance, and she signals for me to take a seat. I sigh loud enough to be heard and sit with my arms crossed defiantly at my chest. Madam Bahkita turns over a tarot card and places it face up in front of her wide-eyed client. "What does it say?" the woman asks, practically foaming at the mouth to see beyond her own mundane existence. The fortune teller purses her lips, a hefty coat of red lipstick highlighting them against the creaminess of her chai latte-colored skin. "Interesting," she teases, her theatrical Dracula-like accent as thick as her makeup application. She turns over another card. "Very interesting indeed." I sigh a second time, though this one is completely involuntary. "I see a man coming into your life," Madam Bahkita shares. "A successful man with a full and lush head of hair." "Go on," the client pleads, her quivering body now quite literally on the edge of its seat. "He will take up much of your time, and although your crocheting will suffer, your life as a whole will be enriched 100-fold as you begin to see all of your dreams fulfilled." The elated client opens her wallet and slides a stack of cash across the table. It's as clean of a transaction as I have ever witnessed. I am clearly in the wrong line of work. Madam Bahkita escorts the woman to the door, hugs her, and then bids her farewell with a charming smile. "Here's what I don't get," I say, standing and stretching in place. "If you can really see the future, why do you bullshit all of the poor people who come in here and actually pay you to do it?" Hugs and charming smiles vanish as quickly as the woman does. All of the fortune teller's courteous pleasantries disappear alongside her faux accent. "There's no cause without effect," she says, her true Boston cadence coming to the forefront. In all of my time knowing Madam Bahkita, I can say with certainty that she has never met an R worth enunciating. "They may pay me, but I pay a bigger price by looking into their timelines." She locks the door and then tugs down on a flimsy chain switch that hangs from the "Come in, we're open" sign in the window. Like a dying star taking its last breath, the neon pops and then fades from existence, though little changes in terms of the ambient glow with so many other stars present. That woman was clearly lonely, I say with confidence, on account of me being somewhat of an expert on the symptoms associated with isolation and internal emptiness. If you're going to lie to her anyway, why not just stick with some crochet-based baloney and avoid twisting the knife in any further than she asked you to? Madam Bahkita signals for me to follow her to the rear of the shop. People do not come to me looking for the day-to-day. They come looking for help. She points me towards a back room, the door labeled with a crudely drawn employees only sign and what I can only assume is a child's magicless marker. Except for you. You come looking for a handout. I've earned every cent I take. I clap back, pushing through the door to Madam Bahkita's true place of business. Unlike the kitschy facade, this room is as authentic as her Boston accent. Although we're standing in a commercially zoned building, roots, vines, and branches ascend from the dirt floor, braiding together to form a second layer of wall that conceals the man-made plaster. Earthworms by the thousands wriggle over the bare ground, creating a living carpet that squishes beneath your steps like a jelly-covered foot forced into a 2 times too small rubber galosh. Whereas the front of the shop permeates with the unappetizing mixture of uncomplimentary odors, this room is spared the offensive smell-o-vision, and instead is as fresh as a spring morning. There is an energy here, a hum just beneath the perception of reality, that is a welcome replacement for the persistent buzzing of neon. Sit, she orders, pointing me to my usual chair tucked beneath a macabre table constructed entirely of animal bone. A deck of hand-drawn tarot cards lays in wait on its surface. Before doing as instructed, I pull the coin from out of my pocket and toss it down onto the carved surface of the bony bistro. Like an informed and responsible jeweler, Madam Bahkita fashions a loop over her left eye, allowing for the proper magnification of the piece. She takes the coin between her slender fingers, the tips left naked without polish, and studies the markings. "You lost another," she says, calling attention to Charlie Spruce. "I don't need commentary, I just need to get paid," I urge, holding my hand out for emphasis. Madam Bahkita removes the loop and then casts the coin to the floor. The earthworms within proximity to its landing descend upon it, enveloping it in their consolidated congealed mass. Once no trace of the coin is visible, the worms who cradle it sink into the soil, taking my proof of pay with them. The fortune teller sits down in the chair opposite me. "Then you know what you must do." Here's the thing. Todd is a dick. He's basically the travel agent of power trips, and to maintain control over his subordinate chaperones, he requires us all to submit to a reading before walking away with payment. Fortunately for me, that wily German shepherd taught me a way around Madam Bahkita's third eye. I place my hands onto the surface of the table, palms down, and they are no sooner touching bone when Madam Bahkita takes them into her own. I'd be lying if I said her soft touch was not a welcome distraction from the isolation known as my life, but such interplay does little to heal the deep wounds that endure. "Clear your mind," she tells me, and while I understand the request, I do not comply. Instead, my inner voice whispers the spell taught to me by the dog, and I feel my mind, at least the aspects I wish to keep private, close off like the vault of a Las Vegas casino. With one hand still clasped to my own, Madam Bahkita flips a tarot card over and studies its contents. I see pity in her emerald eyes. "You need to make more living connections," she says to me, though not in a judgmental way. Even still, I can't help but be defensive. I lash out at her. "Do you see any successful men with lush heads of hair in my future?" She ignores me, an action she has grown comfortable with since I started coming into her shop. She turns over another card and the pity she held becomes mercy. "And it goes without saying, but talking squirrels is not the kind of connection I'm referring to," she says. She knows about Germaine. But the way my spell works is that she can only see the broad strokes of what I am up to out there in the real world. As far as she's concerned, my furry friend chats are one-sided, with me doing all of the talking. In her readings, I'm more of a lonely chap feeding pigeons in the park than a deceitful employee fleecing the system. She turns over a third card, and upon catching a glimpse of the image drawn onto its surface, her naturally beautiful face turns unseemly. I hear a muffled gasp catch hold in her throat. I look down at the card, the entirety of its meant-to-be red plane nothing but a cloudy black jumbling of chaotic lines, crisscrossing over each other an infinite number of times. "What does it mean?" I ask her as her body shakes. "Madam Bahkita?" "I don't know," she stammers, her eyes as wide as her lids will allow. "I've never seen this card before, which is impossible because I made the deck myself. I drew each and every card by hand." I look back down at the card, and within the helter-skelter depiction of nothingness, I see movement. Somewhere beyond the strokes of snarled randomness there is a purpose after all. The black peels away, 2 oval cutouts in the smattering of lines. Their eyes, piss yellow and as soulless as a sock puppet, and they're looking out at me. My heart flutters in my chest, an over-caffeinated shot of fear, and I fall back in my chair, smashing into the dirt floor and taking with me the lives of a few hundred innocent worms. "You saw something!" Madam Bahkita screams. "What?" Still on the floor, I'm unable to process what I witnessed and therefore unable to respond. "What have you brought into this world?" she demands. Worms jerk and jiggle their way into my clothing, but I'm still unable to move. "Nothing! There were eyes! 2 horrible yellow eyes!" Gasping, Madam Bahkita clears the tarot cards from the table, knocking the entire deck from the surface with one swoop of her arm. The cards scatter, littering the floor in an impromptu game of 52 pickup that quickly comes to an end as the worms absorb them into their writhing ensemble majority. I'll be consumed by their coagulation if I stay on my back any longer. I stand and in doing so see Madam Bahkita going for her cell phone. "What are you doing?" I ask. Pale and perspiring, she labors through a response. "I need to inform management." In other words, my ass is about to be cooked to the point of being well done. "Wait," I plead, running to her and nearly slipping on the worms in the process. "Let's not be rash. Given what you described seeing, failing to sound every alarm possible would be the rash decision." I steady my voice, attempting to play the role of the friendly associate that I have never been. "Just what is it we're talking about here? It can't be as bad as it seems. I mean, whatever it is, I can deal with, right?" "You don't deal with a spagoi," she says firmly, her intentions containing less wiggle room than the floor beneath us. "You can only run the other way and never look back." The friendly camouflage I displayed disappears into the sourness of my sourpuss. "I'm sorry, Bahkita, but I don't speak crazy tarot lady. What the hell is a spagoi?" She takes a deep breath. "Think vampire, only this creature feeds not on the dying, but the already dead." "That's a thing?" I ask. She scowls at me as she nods. "And it's not nature who creates such an abomination, but man." She pauses, considers letting her thought pass, and then asks the question anyway. "Is that man you?" I am now defensive not as a mechanism, but as an engine for my actual innocence. "What?" I scream. "No! Not only did I not set out to create a soul sucker, but I wouldn't know how to go about it if I did. I do know Todd is going to be pissed off that it's here though, mostly because he gets pissed about everything. So please, give me 24 hours to try and clean the mess up before you call in the janitorial service." Madam Bahkita looks down at her phone, dialing management's number with her mind. I press my hands together, pleading with her. "I'm begging here, Bahkita, which you know is not a part of my usual repertoire, so please give me a little bit of time to fix whatever it is that's been broken." Madam Bahkita considers my request for a spell, and not the kind I self-mutter in my brain to keep her ilk from sinking their talons into my folds. "I stay quiet for as long as it's in my interests," she finally says. "No more, no less." I nod in appreciation and flee from the back room, leaving before she can change her Beantown-loving mind. On my way out the front door, I tug down on the chain that hangs from the only darkened neon in the window, illuminating the "Come in, we're open" sign once again. The glow is an unpleasant reminder of those piss-colored eyes. Fixed. Watching. They are eyes I hope never find me again. Thank you for listening. For more information, visit thesoulchaperone.com.